Yamaha just confirmed Jorge Martin and Ai Ogura as its factory lineup for 2027 and 2028. And the loudest thing about the whole announcement was what Aprilia did not say. Not one goodbye, not one thank you. Nothing for the world champion who is, right now, leading their title charge. Every other exit this week came wrapped in tributes. Martin's came wrapped in silence. A factory does not forget to thank the biggest name it ever signed. It chooses not to. So what did Jorge Martin actually do to Aprilia? And why is that silence the most honest thing they have said all year? Silence like this is never an accident. When a factory and its own recent world champion split without a single word, that is not neglect. That is a statement, and a deliberate one. Think about who Martin is to them. Aprilia had never won a Premier-class title in its history. Martin was the closest they had ever stood to the top of this sport. You do not go quiet about that unless quiet is the point. And the timing makes it colder still. This confirmation landed one day after Yamaha showed the whole paddock exactly what a real goodbye is supposed to sound like. Look at what happened around Martin. And the silence gets deafening. The day before he was confirmed, Yamaha announced that Fabio Quartararo and Alex Rins would leave at the end of 2026. And Yamaha did not just announce it. It draped both riders in tributes. Quartararo answered in kind. Yamaha is not just a team to me, it is a part of my story, he said. 8 seasons, 1 world title, a proper farewell. Then look at Ogura, the other half of Martin's new garage. He is leaving Trackhouse, Aprilia's own satellite team, to make the jump. And Trackhouse still waved him off warmly. Losing a rider he clearly rated, team boss Davide Brivio found the grace to say, "There's a bit of disappointment, but everyone makes their own choices and follows their heart." MotoGP even cut a highlight reel of Ogura's best Trackhouse moments. A satellite kid got a tribute video. Now hold all of that next to Martin. A world champion, a current title leader, the single biggest signing in Aprilia's history, and from the factory he is leaving, nothing. Not a sentence, not a post, not a thank you. The people who found warm words for everyone found none for his goodbye. So why would Aprilia freeze out the best rider it ever had? Because this did not end in 2026. It ended in 2025, and it ended badly. Rewind. Martin signed with Aprilia as the reigning world champion, the prize catch of the entire grid. Then he barely got the leathers on before it started to fall apart. He crashed in pre-season, crashed again early in the year, and spent almost all of 2025 injured, watching from the sidelines. And while he was out, his own camp went looking for the door. Reports emerged that his manager had put a Honda offer on the table for the following season, before Martin had completed a single healthy weekend for Aprilia, and before he had given the factory anything at all in return. The champion they had just signed was already shopping himself elsewhere. Then it turned ugly. Martin's side tried to trigger a release clause tied to his championship position, a clause that needed him near the front of the championship by round 6. The problem? He had barely raced. Aprilia ruled the clause void. Martin insisted he was leaving anyway. It escalated to lawyers, to dueling public statements, to the edge of a courtroom, until Dorna itself had to step in and shut the exit down. Martin was forced to stay for 2026, a world champion riding for a team he had openly tried to abandon. But that is not even the part that made it personal. At the Hungarian Grand Prix, Martin lost the front at the very first corner and slid straight into another rider. Not just any rider, Marco Bezzecchi, his own Aprilia teammate, and not just his teammate, the man leading the championship, the rider carrying the factory's real title hopes. Martin took down his own team's points leader on the opening lap and swept 3 more riders into the pile-up while he was at it, turning one lost front end into carnage. He got a double long lap penalty for it. And here is the part that should chill any team boss. It was not even the first time. Martin had already taken Bezzecchi down once before, twice in 1 year, the same rider crashed into the same teammate, and both times it was the man Aprilia was actually counting on. Sit inside the Aprilia box for a second. Their expensive, unhappy world champion, the one trying to sue his way out, spent the season taking down the teammate who was actually delivering results. Rivola did not bother hiding it. He called it a mistake a world champion can't make. That is a factory boss saying the quiet part out loud, with a live microphone in his hand. So when the Yamaha news broke and Aprilia said nothing at all, that was not coldness out of nowhere. That was a full year of it, pressed down into a decision to stay silent. And this is where the whole story flips. Everyone filed this as a transfer. Martin to Yamaha, Ogura to Yamaha, a fresh factory pairing for the 850cc era. Clean, forward-looking, business as usual, but it was never clean. A clean exit gets a thank you. What Martin got was a factory refusing to pretend the last 2 years never happened. Because look at what the silence protects. If Aprilia posts a warm goodbye, it has to lie. It has to thank a rider who tried to break his contract, shopped a rival deal before he had even raced, and wiped out its title leader at the first corner. It has to fake an affection it does not feel, so it did the only honest thing left to it. It said nothing. The silence is not Aprilia being petty. The silence is Aprilia refusing to pretend. And that reframes the entire move. This was never a rider calmly choosing a new challenge. This was a partnership that broke so completely the goodbye could not survive contact with the truth. Martin did not simply leave Aprilia. He left it with nothing kind to say about him. A factory that once called him the biggest signing in its history decided the truest gesture it had left was to let him walk out in total silence. So here is the verdict. That silence is not weakness, and it is not sulking. It is the most controlled message Aprilia has sent all season, and it is not really aimed at Martin at all. It is aimed at whoever signs next. Aprilia just showed the entire grid what happens if you take the factory's money, chase the exit, and damage the team on your way out. You do not get the tribute. You do not get the warm line. You get erased from your own goodbye. Bagnaia and Bezzecchi are the 2027 factory pairing now, and they just watched, in real time, precisely how this team treats a champion who turns on it. And Martin? He gets the fresh start he fought so hard to win, on a Yamaha with everything to prove and a reputation to rebuild. But he carries the one thing money cannot fix. He is the world champion his own factory would not give a goodbye. He won them a place they had never reached, and they let him go without a word. In this sport, that silence follows a man longer than any contract. So maybe the real question was never why Aprilia went silent. Maybe it is what Martin did to make silence the kindest option they had left. Was Aprilia right to freeze him out? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now. Right.